The overall divorce rate has fallen 29% from 1979 to 2017, its lowest point in 40 years. So less people are getting divorced than ever. And it's going down in the 15 to 24-year-olds. It's down in the 35 to 44-year-olds and in the 45 to 50-year-olds. Where it's up drastically is in the gray area, as they're calling it, the 55 to 64-year-olds. It was a number climbed from 5 divorces per 1,000 to 15 divorces per 1,000 in a few-year span there.
Let's talk to an expert in this matter as to why that might be here on the AcuteHearingCenters.com hotline. Lene DeRudder, welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing great. So, Lene, do you practice law?
Yes, I practice all family law. That's all I practice.
So, have you noticed an uptick in this kind of behavior from older people?
Yes. It's not uncommon to see the baby boomers coming in to get divorces because their kids are out of the home. They are realizing that they don't have, they're not really connected in their relationships. Their lives aren't really where they want them to be, and they're ready to do something different.
Now, I understand the reasons why people in the age group would get divorced, but why now? Why not, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that age group tended to stay together through the long haul? Why is it today in 2019 that number is rising?
I think for a couple of reasons. I mean, one is that people stay together a lot of times for children, and so now that's not a factor. The children are out of the home. I think another reason is that divorce 20, 30 years ago was not as accepted in society and religious belief systems as it is today. And so that kept a lot of people married. It's what you did. You were supposed to stay married, and you made that commitment. And I think, too, a lot of times people had stigmas around some of these great divorces are second marriages, and there's a lot of stigma around the first one didn't work, and so you can't get you don't want to feel like you failed twice. But I think that there's less of that judgment, that feeling of that judgment, and more of this mindset of, I may be in my late 50s, my 60s, but I've got a whole lot of life that I can still live. And people are very much about, or society can be very much about, wanting to make the most of your life and experience the most out of your life and be happy. And so a lot of these, people in the great divorce area are saying, yeah, that's what I want. And I don't want to spend the rest of the years I have left unhappy with someone that I don't want to be married to and sometimes don't even like.
And we're talking to Lene DeRudder. And Lene, it would seem to me, though, the longer you're together, the more you've accumulated. I mean, you have as much money as you're ever going to have, more or less, in most cases. You're going to have as much money as you're ever going to have post 60, right? I mean, you got your retirement and blah, 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 and you've saved all this money.
Right.
I mean, talk about muddy in the water. It just would seem to me that would be a financial mess, is it not?
It is. It is. And the way, these people are so intertwined in their finances and what they've acquired in their marital estate that it becomes very challenging. And really, honestly, where the challenge becomes is when people cannot be reasonable about it and sit down and talk. And I'll tell you, that's the key to everything. When you've got a divorcing couple where there's a really highly charged emotion, animosity or resentment, it's going to make unwinding that marital estate much more difficult versus if you have two parties that can kind of come together and say, look, we don't work anymore. Neither one of us are happy, but we want to respect the marriage and the life that we had, and we both built this. We both created this. Let's get people to help us. Let's get a team to help us. And that's what you see in the collaborative law movement, people doing that. But unfortunately, not everyone is able to be that sound or or practical in entering a divorce. It does make things much better for them, but not everybody's really at that point yet.
Now, Lene, in your experience with this age group, again, 55 to 64, are the divorces you're seeing, are they amicable? I mean, do both people say, you know what, we've had it great and we raised some great kids, but let's get some variety in the last few years of our life, or is it like any other divorce where it's still kind of one-sided?
Let's agree to disagree and move on.
Yeah, well, it's kind of half and half, because I think you see, what I see in those divorces, unfortunately, is if the parties are reasonable, there's typically one party that's a little more reasonable than the other and is kind of willing to fight the bullet and put up with some of the things that are triggers to get to the end goal. And that's what's the best client you could have, that's got a really good, healthy outlook on the big picture and the end goal. But you do see a lot of people come in where you built this life together and you guys didn't get there just because you don't get along. There's usually a number of issues that have occurred. And there might be resentment. It might be that, you have a traditional situation where the wife had a career, she quit, she stayed home, she took care of the children. The husband was, killing himself, building his career, built a very successful career, but maybe is miserable because he doesn't want to spend the rest of his life working, and so maybe he started drinking more, and so she feels like that's what's more important to him, or going out with his friends more. And then he might have an attitude of, well, it's my money, I've put all the time and effort into it. And she's in a place of resentment saying, wait a second, you couldn't have done this if I wasn't staying home, managing our family and taking care of our life. So when you have that mix, that's where it gets really, really tough. And so, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, okay, I'm sorry. Lene DeRutter is our guest. And Lene, do you find more often than not it's one party or the other? It's the husband or the wife? I mean, I would assume that makes your job super easy if they come in together and go, hey, look, we just want to dissolve this thing. But, I'm guessing that it's one party or the other where the guy has met some 35-year-old divorcee, or the lady's got a bit of wanderlust and decided she doesn't need this anymore, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. If you mean as far as one person or the other filing for the divorce, I would say that, so counselor once said to me, and I thought this was fantastic, that in divorce, it's sort of like the four horsemen of the apocalypse, right? And so someone might be on that first stage while someone else is in that fourth stage. And the first stage is sort of that feeling sad and just feeling like, I can't believe this is ending. And then the second stage is more of wanting to save it. And then the third stage is feeling resentment. And then the fourth stage is feeling resignation. And so typically the person that comes in sort of has resigned to, this is the choice I'm making. And kind of what you indicated is the person on the other side, you file for divorce and they're going, wait a second, wait, what? So I didn't realize you were that unhappy. Well, you mean you're unhappy. How can you be that unhappy? And so then you're trying to take that person through a divorce while the other person is still experiencing those four horsemen of the apocalypse. And so that also makes it very challenging. The best thing that people can ever do, and I'll just tell you, I love when people say, well, I just think I'm going to talk to my husband, or I'm just going to talk to my wife and see if we can figure this out. Is that okay? I'm like, I want to like give them some sort of prize for even saying that, because the best thing you can do when you're going through a divorce is just go have a cup of coffee and say and talk about the issues of what you want, how you want this to end, because you're going to save yourself a lot of emotional and mental and financial grief. You really, really are. And you don't have to like each other and get along great. You can still have those, feelings that have built over a 20, 30-year marriage, but put them aside and go talk. Go talk and work it out, because the divorce is going to go much better.
All right. With that, Lene, we appreciate you talking to us. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Lene DeRutter.
And I like to hear from some people out there if they're kind of at that stage. Did you later in life?
Have you done it?
Yeah, have you done it? And what was the deciding factor? Because it's between, I understand it's hey, I only got, whatever, maybe another 10, 15, 20 more years to go. I kind of want to enjoy it and kind of have some zest back in life. How do you weigh that versus, man, this has been my partner for a long time. We raised kids together. We were going through all the hard times and where the finances weren't where we needed them to be, and you've grown. That's obviously a very, very big decision. I'd love to hear some thoughts from people on that.